lost him. And you know what? It was just about to get good, too. It was just getting good. We lost
Should
him.
we take the break and maybe he'll call back? I don't know.
You know what? We can take the break, and we can see if Ethan can reconnect with him, because I want to hear where he goes with that answer. I don't know. CJ, I'm just saying, we just started bringing up some deep stuff, and then it gets cut off. Is the Illuminati listening to the show? Just saying.
Welcome back to the show. 3 minutes away from 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
That's it. I'm going home.
Dang, man.
See ya.
I wouldn't even be on the air on any of our stations before 8 o'clock. I don't know where that came from. Reading, it's hard.
Well, I think when you have a I'll say in all candor, when you're in a foreign country and a monkey in a diaper sitting on your head, you're asking for trouble.
Discussion can end there. That's right. It's a definitive statement on the issue. Now we move on.
So how many times have you thought about that was a bad idea that I had a monkey on my head since you had the monkey on your head?
Every time I go visit Dr. Pellegrino, my personal doctor. Do you know what it's like to tell your doctor that?
Well, Doc, I also had a monkey. Excuse me? Had a monkey on my head with a diaper on. I bet you that's the first time Dr. Ron has ever heard that one. He's probably heard a lot of things.
He's heard a lot. Yeah, Dr. Ron has.
He's one of the great West Virginians. He's up there from the Northern Panhandle.
He's awesome.
Tremendous. Yeah, Dr. Ron. Good dude.
We were talking in my office a little earlier, and a phrase that Ryan used that I was really kind of gobsmacked over. He started a sentence with me. He said, "We were watching football on Thursday."
I know, he did the same thing to me. He did this. Is this like Earth 2?
I said, what?
He came back and started telling me about the Cowboys and the Chiefs game.
know,
You
I
were
know.
watching the Lions game on
Yeah,
Thanksgiving Day.
Well,
What happened? What happened to our little Ryan?
well, when my Uncle Bill and my Uncle Chris asked if I want to watch football with them, I don't say no.
Okay.
So,
Because I'm not I'm not a recluse anymore.
so if you have uncles that are big sports fans, do you get some creds? Are you like, hey, I'm actually one of kind of sports show, syndicated?
Well, I don't.
Statewide.
Well, I don't want this to be a sports show.
Second game this season that Honors had 8 threes. Second time he's had 8 threes, and his coach has pulled him out with over 4 minutes to go.
You're up 40.
Yeah, but coach just does not want to see him get that record.
There may have been a discussion about that on exactly where he was in the number.
Did you let him know this time?
But there was a discussion about where he was with the number. But at the end of the day, Ross decided the juice not worth the squeeze there. With 3.5 minutes left is when he pulled him out after the timeout there. And that's a guy with a lot of minutes on his in his body. You need to rest him. But 2 out of 11, you got to think maybe he's going to approach that again. Here's what's wild. In those 2 games where he's just been one off of Alex Ruoff's record, he's now a combined 16 of 20 from 3 in those 2 games. So he didn't just make 8 threes, guys. He was 8 of 11 last night. He was 8 of 9 when he did it before. 16 of 20 combined in those 2 games.
Across this great state of West Virginia, welcome in high school game nights. I chuckle a little bit, folks, because it said early edition.
As compared to the
Only
rest
edition.
of the edition, yeah.
Yeah. Tonight is going to be interesting, to say the least.
10 seconds remaining.
Going to be a direct snap here.
Snap back. It's Tyler. Tyler fakes the run. He throws. He's got an open man. Pass top 10. 5. End zone. It's a touchdown. Pulled in by Nestor. 3 seconds left.
Are you kidding me with the play call right there by Kevin Whiteman? Again, forget the game-winning field goal. Whiteman says, we're going to try and win this thing right now. The direct snap to Tyler sucked everybody up, and Nestor slips behind. What an unbelievable, gutsy play call, and then perfect execution by these Falcons.
You had a moment of clarity about when it all started to make sense for you?
It did, because I didn't want to be a filmmaker growing up. I didn't even know what filmmaking was growing up. I used to watch Oprah and Katie Couric, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be you. And I worked at West Virginia University's radio station. I had a very thick accent. People would call in and make fun of me. And so I asked my roommates, my college roommates who were from Baltimore, to teach me how to talk differently.
Really?
Yeah. And it's a loss, I feel, from that. And it's probably one of the reasons why I love documenting people that are authentic. Like, I don't know if I'm authentic, but I think the people I find are very authentically who they are, and that's what draws me to them.
Surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the MetroNews Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q Dave and TJ. You're on. MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Good morning. Welcome inside the West Virginia State Capitol for the start of the 2026 legislative session. Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows with you. Jake Link back in the Morgantown video control room. Kyle Wake, Sophia Wasik handling the audio side of things today. Text line is 304-TALK-304. You can always give us a call at 800-765-TALK as well. Got a loaded show for you today. We'll hear from House Speaker Roger Hanshaw in the second hour. Secretary of State Chris Warner will stop by. WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research Director John Deskins presented an economic outlook to the legislatures today. He will join us on set as well. We'll talk to Senate President Randy Smith in just a moment. First, say good morning to TJ Meadows. Morning, sir. Good to see you. Hang on. That one's you. The other one's not. There we go.
It's great to be here. I love this energy, people walking by. If you watch the video stream, you know I'm always waving and these kinds of things when people are walking by. I love this process. And while it's not perfect, it's better than any other in the world. And it's a chance for people to come together and debate ideas. And, yes, there'll be some petty things that go on. That just happens. But it's good to be back. And it's good to be live. I like when we do the show together. It's good to have you here. So, yeah, I'm excited.
It's a lot easier than working with the digital version, which is what we usually have to do. So we got a lot to get to today. Brad McElhenney will stop by as well. But please welcome to the AARP set here in the Capitol Rotunda, the president of the West Virginia Senate, Randy Smith, joins us. Mr. President, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, guys. Good to be here.
Appreciate you stopping by. Are you ready for another 60-day session?
Yep. Well, I'm ready to go. Fired up, ready to go.
Good for you.
Well, let's dive right in. So the last couple of days, there's been some criticism that there's not an agenda. There's not a platform on the Senate side. You pushed back on that during an event yesterday a little bit. So is there an agenda on the Senate side, and how has that been developed?
Well, we start working on our agenda right after the last session. You know what I mean? My staff here, you know, my chief of staff and the senators, you know, work on everything. So we've been working all spring, summer, fall, and the first part of the winter on agenda. You know what I mean? Like today, I think there's 249 bills going to be introduced today, and that comes from not what goes on right the session, but that's from our senators. I think you guys know me well enough. I'm not a high-profile politician. You know what I mean? I don't get out and I don't have press conferences all the time. I don't brag about what we're going to do. I'm a blue-collar worker. I've always been a blue-collar worker my whole life, and I've always had the work ethic that you get the work done. You know, you take care of it. You don't care who gets the credit. You know, I've put smart people in positions in my chairs that has been working hard on it. Their staff's been working hard on it. So, yeah, just because I didn't get out and call a press conference, I know the House did and the governor did. And, I've got 34 members. So, yeah, there's some that doesn't know what's going on all the time because, my leadership team knows what's going on. And, most senators, we talk all, through the year when we're out of session. We're part-time legislature, so-called part-time legislature, but we work all year round. Like I said, right after the session, we started, probably Glenn Jeffries, the day the session was over, he was already working on, economic development. But
he hits the pavement. He's out there.
He is. He's a good man. That's why he's my economic development chair. And I tell you, he's did more for economic development in the state of West Virginia than anybody.
So your leadership style is collaborative.
Yes.
Maybe some leadership styles in the position you have in the past, Randy, have been more direct, more hands-on. That's fine. Your style is your style. But give us a sense of what you want to see accomplished. You're still the president. You talked about those bills that are being introduced. Give us some tangibles that are key points that you want to focus on.
Well, just like it's happened since Bill Cole was Senate president, economic development's always our top priority, because if we can create jobs, get companies in here, create jobs, then a lot of our social issues, problems go away, with our welfare system, child care, all that is based on economic development. People don't have jobs. They feel like they don't have hope. So that's something since I've came to the legislature. This is my 14th session, and job creation has always been my number one priority, and it hasn't changed since I became Senate president. I'm more of a small business guy. Me and my wife have a small business, and I think in the last several years we've kind of let them out of the picture with our economic development because we go after the big companies, Nucor and all that, which is great. They create a lot of jobs, bringing a lot of revenue to the state, and that's great. And we're still going to continue to do that. Senator Jeffrey does a wonderful job. In fact, he was picking people up at the airport this morning to go show them sites today. So I'm going to focus on small business. Senate Bill 1 is to help the small businesses find funding. And, and a lot of things that comes with economic development, everybody focuses on the bill. We need a bill for this, we need a bill for that. But a lot of our problems can be solved without legislation. I'll give you some examples. The state agencies are some of the cause some of the most problems for small businesses. I couldn't tell you how many calls I've got because, a small business is trying to open up, but they can't open up until they get their fire suppression and approved. And then, they're saying they're being told they're 4 months out, 6 months out, whatever. So stuff like that should never happen with the state agency to slow down economic development. Same with broadband development. We've had incidents where in some district Department of Highways has shut down the fiber crew that's running the middle mile, checking their safety harnesses or their vehicles, which they have nothing to do with it, but they're slowing down. So that's what I'm focusing on, is try to help small business out.
That's interesting. I'm just sitting here thinking, Randy, when you talk about the big economic development announcements, Nucor, the battery plant up in Weirton and some of the stuff over in the Eastern Panhandle, those help. Those are certainly great. But if we are going to help our rural communities, if we're talking about McDowell County, Boone County, Calhoun, Tucker and Preston counties, it's going to be the small businesses because that's the lifeblood of these small rural communities. So that's an interesting approach that I hadn't really given a lot of thought to.
Yeah, I represent a rural district. I have 6 counties. They're all rural counties. And, it's discouraging. You see, anywhere along the High River, you're seeing, I always make the joke, if we want development in our area, we got to find a way to get through a High River going through, Preston, Tucker County, that areas, and Hardy. So that's where the passion comes from, because we're not going to land these big projects, the big manufacturing, but we can do the small ones, whether it's furniture manufacturing. We're right there in the Hardwood Alliance. That's just one example. We take all of our lumber, and ship it down south, and then they turn it into furniture, and then they ship the furniture back to us. Wouldn't it be great if we could get some, furniture plants? And I'm talking, the companies for 100 or less jobs, and even the mom and pop shops, 2 or 3 jobs, they need help too. And that's what I want to focus on. I met with Secretary of State yesterday. They've got some good ideas down there where we can run some stuff, to help businesses out. My goal is even the education part of it. Most small businesses fail because they don't have, they don't know. They're good at their trade, they're good at their business, but they don't know how to run a business. Mm-hmm. And, something simple as hooking up with our high schools or CTE programs for adult education to do, QuickBooks of a night, for business owners, or web designing, and there's a program with the national level where retired CEOs and presidents of companies and stuff have volunteered their time where they work with these. And I want to do the same thing in the state, piggyback off of that.
You talked about jobs. We have the worst labor participation rate in America. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Why do West Virginians not want to work, and how do we fix it?
My opinion is we make it too easy not to work in a lot of ways. And it's you got to change the culture, education. People gets an education, and the drug problem is a huge reason for that. If we could solve the drug problem in West Virginia or United States, a lot of our social issues would just disappear, because that's what creates it. I'm more convinced now, since I started the opioid committee last year, or substance abuse committee with Senator Helton, and he's been all over the state, looking at these programs, and you wouldn't believe the money we're pouring into these programs. Some of these that has a 0% success rate. Someone just collects money for 60 or 30 days, 60 days, puts them back out on the street, and gets the next batch. And we got to quit doing that. We got to do better. So he has found the programs across the state that, some of them has 80-some% success rate. That's what we got to concentrate on. We just got to quit throwing money at everything. Same way with education. It's always more money, which I'm not saying there don't need to be more funding. We need to look at the school aid formula. But the funding, with that, we gotta utilize our money that we're doing with our drug, and there's no doubt in my mind that's what the driving force is with workforce participation too.
Senate President Randy Smith is joining us here on MetroNews Talkline. We are live at the state capitol in the upper rotunda this morning. Senator, Governor Morrissey has requested, or is asking the legislature to pursue, a possibly 5 to 10% cut in the personal income tax. Are we in a position to pursue a further cut in addition to what we've already done through the legislation passed a few years ago?
Well, we passed the bills where we put the triggers on that for income tax reduction. I'm not 100% sure what Governor Morrissey. He's laid his plan out. We're here more tonight after the state of the state. I'm all for cutting income tax, or any tax if you can, because nobody likes to pay tax, but that's the only way. The state has no money. The only money they've got is what the people give them.
And we don't have a printing press.
Yeah, we don't have print. And, unlike a lot of people don't realize, we're not like the federal government. We can't print money. We can't leave this session until we have a balanced budget, which is a great thing. If our federal government was like that, can you imagine how better shape we would be in? But that is one good thing about West Virginia. We have to balance a budget. And with that comes a lot of tough decisions. A lot of times, we're elected, and a lot of times, even though it's unpopular, we have to make tough decisions, because at the end, we're the one who has to make sure the bills are paid and we have the money to do it.
Tough decisions. Had some fireworks yesterday. You had one senator resign. You made some leadership changes, resigned from a chair position. She was critical of you. I want your side of the story on that.
I've got 33 senators, and I've got 33 different personalities, and some people, I don't worry about it, honestly. I love her like a daughter, It's I can't make everybody happy. It's not my job to make everybody happy. It's my job to make sure that the Senate is run efficiently, and she did a great job, and she's a great senator. I have nothing bad to say about her. She represents her district with a lot of passion and works hard at it. And, and she's, there are going to be a lot of people upset over the next 60 days. You guys have been around long enough, as it gets longer, tempers flare, and it just, it's nothing I've not been through before. And, I've got great senators, even the ones, that don't support me or, maybe not even like me. I don't know. I think I have a good relationship with all my senators, whether we agree politically or not. I'm a person that has always, and I think you guys can attest to this, that, I try to treat people fair. If me and you don't disagree, we don't disagree, but that's no reason to hate each other. I always tell everybody, you're not going to get in heaven if you hate somebody. I can tell you right now, there's not a person in this world I hate. Now, there's some I like more than others, but I'm just saying, I love, and I'm proud of my senators. They work hard. Whether, I agree with what they're working on, whatever, but they work at it with the passion. They represent their district, and that's my leadership style. If it's going to hurt your district, you don't vote for it. You know what I mean? I've always been like that, and I don't expect anything less from my senators. They work hard. They do their job. I want them to get the credit because all I'm doing is trying to run this, body, to keep everything moving. Yes, sometimes I have to make difficult decisions, tough decisions. But, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, I used to tell everybody, this is a lot easier than coal mining, and I can't say that anymore. I think I like coal mining. But I will tell you it's not near as safe as coal mining. I will tell you that. So.
He's President Randy Smith, President of the West Virginia State Senate. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll look forward to talking to you some more this session.
All right, I appreciate it. You guys do a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up, John Deskins will join us in a moment. This is Talkline, live from the state capitol.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
Coal-based generation remains the backbone of West Virginia's energy portfolio, ensuring reliability, security, and affordable electricity throughout the region. Our coal plants are engineered for performance, designed to run most efficiently at or near a 70% capacity factor. This level of operation is not arbitrary. It's based on sound engineering principles, scientific analysis, and has been formally adopted by the West Virginia Legislature as a reasonable target for optimal performance. When our coal fleet operates near that benchmark, it provides stable power to the grid, maintains cost efficiency, and supports thousands of good-paying jobs across our state. Coal generation also drives local tax revenue that sustains schools, infrastructure, and community services. Working in partnership with state leaders and the Trump administration, we're ensuring that our coal fleet remains modern, efficient, and ready to power West Virginia and beyond for decades to come. This message brought to you by the West Virginia Coal Association and Friends of Coal.
For over 30 years, High Technology Foundation has been committed to building a stronger West Virginia. Our mission, economic diversification. By fostering innovation and supporting tech initiatives, we pave the way for a brighter future. From cutting-edge research to tech-driven solutions, we're transforming the landscape. Join us in creating opportunities and driving progress. Let's build a diverse economy together. Visit WVHTF.org. High Technology Foundation, shaping West Virginia's future.
You're listening to Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Across West Virginia, hospitals are always here, healing, helping, and standing strong for our communities. Hospitals save lives and build livelihoods. They're among our largest employers, with a passionate workforce of 54,000 West Virginians. Hospitals are economic drivers, contributing close to $17 billion to our state's economy and working to ensure access to care for all. From life-saving moments to wellness support, West Virginia hospitals keep our state healthy, our families strong, and our future bright.
It's Toyotathon, and we're determined to make this the best one yet. Starting now, when you purchase any brand new Tundra or Tacoma, you'll drive away with a personalized Dan Cava Yeti cooler. This December, unwrap incredible deals like 2.99% for 72 months on 2026 Tundras. Snow, sleet, or holiday travel, your perfect winter ride is waiting for you. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
Poca Valley has proudly served the citizens of Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties for over a century. As your trusted community bank, we're committed to building relationships and meeting your financial needs. And with the Poca Valley Visa card, you can enjoy competitive interest rates, no annual fees, and a rewarding points program, all from a bank you know and trust. Visit your local Poca Valley office to apply or call us. Poca Valley, where relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Virginia. MetroNews. Encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit encova.com to learn more.
We are back inside the West Virginia State Capitol, Upper Rotunda. First day of the legislative session. Dave and TJ here at the Capitol. John Deskins, WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research, going to join us coming up a couple of minutes from now. All right, TJ, I got a couple of minutes before we hit the break. Your thoughts on our conversation there with Randy Smith?
Water under the bridge in terms of him not being more aggressive with an agenda. Look, bills are going to come in. He has his chance to advocate. Clearly, he's a collaborator. He's not a top-down guy. Fine, that's his prerogative. We'll see if it works for him or not. Frankly, I think the House in their agenda, I think his biggest challenge will be hurting the Cats with his factions in the Senate to get them to adopt things like Team West Virginia and what we want to do to mirror Jobs Ohio. So he's got his work cut out for him. Give him a chance. We'll see what happens.
To compare it to football, as I have to do all things, it reminds me of the head coach that lets the coordinator, offensive coordinator, comes up with the offensive game plan. Defensive coordinator comes up with the defensive game plan. He's not dictating top down. Now, if there's somebody that has to make a decision on 4th and goal, he's going to make that decision. He's going to make those types of decisions. Different leadership style than, here's the agenda, you all need to get in line.
Yeah.
Very different from that. So, and maybe that's what we've come to expect just through politics in general. So we'll see how that plays out, like you said, trying to get those things to the finish line over the next 60 days.
Look, they're going through a rough patch over there. The factions are real. What happened yesterday with Senator Chapman resigning her chair, there's strain, there's friction. He took the high road in talking with us.
He did.
I like that. I think that's a sign of good leadership. That makes me want to believe in the guy. And he's genuine when he does that. So, hey, let's see what happens. And I think he can herd the Cats there. I do.
And just to catch folks up, if you haven't been on WVMetroNews.com, Senator Laura Wacom Chapman resigned her job as chair of the Health Committee yesterday and put out a pretty scathing statement, said she was trying to be forced to be loyal to the Senate president. We've heard some things may go on today. We'll see what happens here when they have one to session at noon, but that's where the friction, at least on day one, is coming from. The other part of that conversation, you could hear his passion for small businesses, representing Preston and Tucker, I think part of Hardy County, up there in the corner as well. And as he was talking, that's why I made the statement. I started thinking, Nucor's not moving to Preston County, or, in Terra Alta. But you have small business opportunities, and he's looking at that. And if you're looking at the interior, it's small business that is going to be the solution to Preston, Boone, Calhoun, Clay, those types of counties.
Big and small business will lift the tide here in West Virginia. We have many people. He talked about Glenn Jeffries. Glenn Jeffries is a bulldog out there hitting the pavement, trying to get people here. It's all right to have somebody focusing on small business. We need both.
We will talk economic developments in depth on the other side of the news break. John Deskin is going to join us. He is the director of the WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research. He addressed legislators earlier this morning. Second hour, House Speaker Roger Henshaw is going to join us here at the AARP broadcast location. Proud to have AARP back with us again for the entire legislative session, making it possible to do this show here in the beautiful Capitol Rotunda with Baby Dog looking on from the Capitol. All right, coming up, we'll talk to John Deskins. This is Talkline, live from the West Virginia State Capitol, day one of the legislative session on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. It is 10:30. Let's get a news update from the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The halls of the state capitol busy this morning, and they will be for the next 2 months with the 60-day legislative session set to start at noon today. House of Delegate Speaker Roger Hanshaw says the House wants to focus on boosting efforts by the State Development Office to recruit more businesses here. Hanshaw discussed it during Tuesday's Issues and Eggs event in Charleston.
Our priority is to make sure we're doing it better and that we're creating an apparatus that's focused entirely on marketing the state of West Virginia outside our borders, bringing capital, bringing resources, bringing potential employers here in the way that our neighbors to the west have done in Ohio.
Governor Patrick Morrisey said the state address set for tonight, he could talk about a tax cut plan. Senate President Randy Smith has a wait-and-see approach.
Until we see exactly what he's wanting to do, it's hard to say we're going to support it. I support tax cuts, but I support responsible tax cuts.
Catch tonight's speech on Metro News Radio and television beginning at 7 o'clock. State Supreme Court trying to get an early jump on letting state lawmakers know the successes of the Family Treatment Court program. They appeared before lawmakers Tuesday with some graduates of the program, which works to help parents out of drug addiction and other issues in order to keep a family together. The Supreme Court is seeking $1.4 million in funding. Winter weather advisory for the highest elevations of West Virginia kicks in later today. Snow expected. You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Hi, I'm Zach Hupp, project manager with CEC. After graduating from Glenville State College, I took over my dad's surveying business. It was fulfilling, but when CEC came calling, I knew it was an opportunity I couldn't refuse. With CEC, I'm reaching clients I never dreamed of and seeing projects through to completion. It's more than a job, it's a new chapter. At CEC, we engineer progress in the great state of West Virginia.
Find out what CEC can do for you. Visit cecinc.com.
Since 1914, Greer Limestone and Asphalt have been laying the groundwork for America's roads, buildings, and bridges. What started as a single limestone mine near Morgantown, West Virginia, has grown into the state's largest producer of limestone aggregates. But Greer doesn't stop at rock. Greer's Morgantown and Clarksburg asphalt plants produce top-tier paving mixes for driveways to major highways, crafted to meet federal standards. At Greer Limestone and Greer Asphalt, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
A deep clean is scheduled today and tomorrow at Magnolia High School in Wetzel County following an outbreak of the flu. Students are scheduled to be on remote schedule for the next 2 days. School officials say there were more than 140 students absent on Tuesday. Reliability complaints made by customers against Appalachian Power Company going to be the subject of a study by an outside firm chosen by the State Public Service Commission. The PSC announced Tuesday that Liberty Consulting Group of Lebanon, Pennsylvania will do the study. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Metro News Talk Line at the AARP broadcast location in the upper rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. The session officially starts at noon today when the House and Senate will get to work. Earlier this morning, legislators were taking in a presentation from John Deskins. He's the director of the WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research. He joins us here on the AARP broadcast location in the upper rotunda. John, good morning, and good to actually see you. Usually we're on the phone. You're running around between classes, making some time for us. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Great to be here, and great to be here in person. First time I've ever spoken to you guys in person, I believe.
Well, that's a monumental day for you, certainly. No doubt about it, right?
Absolutely.
He's so humble.
John, what was the message to the legislature today?
The baseline message is we're expected to continue to grow in West Virginia. We don't expect a recession's on the horizon. We're going to add jobs in the coming 5 years. But we still have more than our fair share of challenges. We're still dead last in terms of labor force participation. We're low in terms of per capita personal income. You know, we're growing. It could be worse, but we have plenty of challenges to overcome. So something of a glass half full, glass half empty take.
Nobody argues with the data. The question becomes, how do we fix it? Start with labor rate. How do we get West Virginians to want to work?
It's tough. It's not an easy thing that we're going to do overnight. But the reason that we lag so much in workforce participation, things like poor education outcomes, poor health outcomes, a big drug abuse problem. So, for example, we have people in West Virginia who want to work in their heart. They want to earn an income. They want to enjoy the benefits that come from working, but they don't have the right education or training or job skills to get hired. The same story is similar with health, same story with drug abuse. So we have to invest in these big problems, improving education outcomes, improving health outcomes, fixing this drug abuse problem. These are the things that we have to do, but these aren't easy things that we can fix overnight.
Give me some positive news, John. A lot of these problems we've known about for a very long time. We have taken some steps, but where are we seeing some of this come to fruition? Are we seeing some of this come to fruition?
Well, some positive news is this. We have some counties, some regions in West Virginia that are growing and that have positive momentum. And this isn't really an apples-to-apples comparison, but if you just look at the growing counties of West Virginia, and if you compare that to growth nationally, we look pretty similar. Matter of fact, the growth counties in West Virginia are expected to grow just slightly faster than the nation overall. So we have some areas and regions that are doing well. We just have to broaden this out geographically because we have a lot of stagnant counties as well.
Where are we talking? Eastern Panhandle, North Central?
Yeah, Eastern Panhandle, North Central, a little bit of the Potomac Highlands. You know, Nucor's helping Mason County grow over on the Ohio River side. But, yeah, mostly the northern part of the state, sprinkled around in different parts of the northern part of the state.
The Taze Metroplex, as I like to call it, was in your map, Growth County. What is Putnam County doing that maybe Kanawha and Cabell aren't?
Well, there is some homegrown growth in Putnam County. Toyota, there's, of course, an important employer and an important economic base, but some of that's a little bit misleading because you have some people moving to Putnam County more as a bedroom community. So many of the jobs are still in Kanawha or Cabell, but you have people living in Putnam, boosting the economy there. But it's not all net growth. Some of that growth is just absorbing from other counties. But there is some growth, and the area is attractive to potential residents. The momentum's a good thing, but it's not as good as it might appear.
John Deskins is joining us here on MetroNews Talkline, live at the state capitol. John is the director of the WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research. So what can state legislators do? They can take steps. They can't make jobs happen, but they can take steps. What would you recommend to them?
Oh, boy, I don't have any easy solutions. We've got to...
Well, where do we start?
Where do we start? Oh, boy. I would find money to invest in improving education in West Virginia. I would find ways to make our education system more effective, even holding the number of dollars constant. I would find money and ways to make our drug abuse fight more effective. Same thing with improving health outcomes in West Virginia. A lot of it deals with finding money and making sure that we spend that money as wisely as possible because we don't have any dollars to squander on inefficient government or waste, that's for sure.
You talked about efficiency. Let's talk about economic density and pick one of those counties that's not growing. Do we have to get real with ourselves and start saying, look, we can't be so spread out in these counties. We have to figure out how to get people to maybe move into the county seats where we can get one broadband line in and reliable electricity. No one wants to talk about that, but I feel like we're there.
There's some truth to that. I mean, more population density makes economic development easier. We know this for sure. If you don't have broadband, that is an absolute total economic development killer in the year 2026. That's for sure. So for rural areas that don't have broadband, there's not really any hope for economic development until they get broadband. So if we can find ways to kind of encourage more density in rural areas, that would make economic development easier. But it's hard to do that. You know, when people are used to living in this community, when people are used to living up this holler, it's hard to get them to move, but it does make economic development easier.
Neither of you two been around West Virginia. We move rural because we don't want to be around people.
I get it.
We don't want to be around people. And that's why, to your point, and I want to get your thought. We were talking to Randy Smith, Senate President, and he talked very passionately about wanting to invest in small businesses because a Nucor is not coming to Terra Alta, right, in Preston County. So how can we invest in small business so you can have a rural community that is flourishing?
Absolutely. Entrepreneurship is absolutely vital. I mentioned in my speech earlier industrial diversification. We have too many of our eggs in one basket, and that is we have too few industries that are always growing. Absolutely, we always have. But the best way to achieve industrial diversification isn't by having government leaders just pick this industry over that industry. The best way to achieve industrial diversification is to promote entrepreneurs. Let entrepreneurs try different things. Let them experiment. Let them go in different directions and take risks and think differently. If you enable entrepreneurs to do that, many of them will fail. That's a fact. But the entrepreneurs that succeed in taking that different path, that's how you find what really works from an economic perspective for your region, given your specific strengths and weaknesses and challenges and opportunities. So encouraging entrepreneurship is so important, making sure that we don't have any barriers in terms of regulatory obstacles or government obstacles keeping entrepreneurs down, but then giving them some support if we can find resources. That's important for creating these small-town businesses, and it's really important for finding the right industrial mix for the state. One big business with 500 people gets all this press, but I would argue that 10 small businesses with 50 people each, that's just as important, if not more important.
Well, and you mentioned something in talking with the joint session. You talked about the large businesses and folks react negatively because, oh, well, they're going to bring people in from outside of state. Yeah.
No, we're suffering natural population decline in West Virginia where we have more deaths than births. We're losing about 7,000 people a year because we have that many more deaths than births. So to curb that trend, we have to get people to move into West Virginia. And if you look at the data, net migration has actually been positive the last 5 years. More people have moved in than what's moved out over the last 5 years. The numbers aren't huge, but they're positive. That's a good thing. And we have to get more of that. If we can find a big company that employs 500 people, and if half of the jobs go to West Virginians and if the other half of the jobs go to new West Virginians that move here, that's a heck of an economic development win. Encouraging people to move here, top priority.
500 people, and they all have 7 kids. That's what we need in West Virginia.
Exactly.
That's what we need.
He told a really good joke. I won't make him do it on the air, but he told a really good joke inside baseball, and maybe I'll put it on my Facebook. Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
Wow, that's a cliffhanger. John Deskins joining us, WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research. We're live in the Capitol Rotunda at the AARP broadcast location. Leave us with some positive. Give me. We know the challenges: education, drug problems, workforce. Leave me with a positive outlook for West Virginia, or whatever positive there is.
Remember where we were when the tariffs hit in April. We were worried about a recession coming nationally and in West Virginia. This was a big concern. Now the environment has changed. We're not worried about a recession anymore. We're talking about growth. Growth is expected. That's a positive.
Why aren't we worried about recession? What changed? Because I remember those conversations. We had long conversations about the tariffs. What's changed?
Well, when the tariffs were originally brought up, they were going to be very aggressive and very broad-based. I still think, overwhelming majority of economists still think tariffs are bad in many ways because they restrict trade, they impede the free market. But the tariffs aren't as high as we feared. They're not as broad-based as they feared. There's a lot of exemptions or loopholes in the tariffs for certain goods that are important for the country for various reasons. It's just not as big of a deal as we thought. This actually happened in the first Trump administration as well. But just the talk in April was pretty scary, but it turns out the tariffs weren't that high and aggressive.
Let me give you another softball. If you want to weigh in, economically, not politically. I am just livid about what the White House, I won't even put a name on it, is trying to do to the Fed, trying to do to set credit card interest rates. I'm steamed. Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right. Central bank independence is a cornerstone of economic policy. Look at this. All rich countries, without exception, have independent central banks. Every single one of the rich countries in the world have an independent central bank. The third world countries that are upside down, they have central banks that are under the thumb of the executive. Having an independent central bank that can focus on fighting inflation over the long run is a cornerstone of economic policy making. This has been known for decades. I'm almost 50 years old. This has been around for longer than I have. And Trump trying to attack central bank independence is not a good strategy for economic development in this country in the long term.
John Deskins, WVU Bureau of Business and Economic Research. Good to actually see you, John. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me anytime.
Brad McElhenney, he'll swing by at some point in the program today. Roger Hanshaw, Speaker of the House, due to join us in the second hour. This is Talkline from the West Virginia State Capitol.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan.
The health plan is still growing, giving you a large network of doctors, friendly and helpful customer service representatives, and competitive, flexible pricing plans that meet your needs. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
Hospitals drive West Virginia's economy. They produce jobs and create opportunities while keeping our communities healthy. Employing nearly 54,000 people, West Virginia hospitals rank among our state's largest and most dependable employers. They provide more than $1 billion in community benefits and generate nearly $17 billion in total economic impact each year. Hospitals are investing where it counts, advancing health, ensuring access to care, and powering West Virginia's economic future.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at WVHA.org.
You're listening to Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
I have had a complicated relationship with food. My job was to talk to heart failure patients about diet and exercise. I felt like, why would you listen to me? Because I was not following a diet that was healthy for me. I needed help. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 175 pounds. I feel like I'm free. They hold the skill, they hold the tools, and they're waiting for you to come say that you need the help.
Trojan Landing Marine is now Charleston's newest power sports dealership.
We now feature a full line of sleek Suzuki street bikes and four-wheelers. We're now offering the innovative riding experience of Benda motorcycles. The next step in motorcycle evolution with all-electric Zero high-performance bikes. We've now got Segway vehicles starting as low as $10,000. Come in and check out our great selection of high-quality Benelli and Royal Enfield bikes. Visit Trojan Landing in Charleston, now your water, road, and dirt dealership.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown! Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement. And we craft detailed financial plans for people like you because you're building your retirement your way. You deserve advice that's built to handle what your life brings. To meet with your Stike Team advisor, call us at 304-443-4240 or email stike-info@wealthenhancement.com.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
We're at the AARP broadcast location in the Upper Rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. Dave and TJ, joined by Brad McElhenney. His Capitol Report brought to you by AARP, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Connect on social media at AARP West Virginia and learn more at AARP.org/WV. Brad, good to see you. It's day one. Happy legislative session.
Oh, happy legislative session. Today, the optimism is at its maximum capacity, yet even it is a little shaky.
You heard our conversation with President Randy Smith to lead off the show. Anything stand out to you, or what stood out to you in that conversation?
Well, in terms of, Senate framework and personnel, he's had some challenges the last few days, beginning with Senator Eric Tarr twice, including on this program, saying that the Senate has no plan. And then yesterday there was the sudden resignation from her chair position not from the Senate, but from her chair position, of the then Senate Health Chairwoman Laura Wickham Chapman, who in a fairly brief letter to the president cited leadership style, cited what she called a demand for sort of unflinching loyalty. So there's been a lot already, a lot rocking the boat, but I thought he has handled it calmly, and continued to praise his fellow senators. Said, I think it's a practical matter that these are people who have been elected, so there's a matter of ego. It is a place that can be very pressure-packed. It's where differences of opinion come to be worked out, so there's going to be conflict. And, but I thought Senate President Smith was cool about it.
Let me carry the water for Randy for a second. When you have at least 2 and probably 3 factions in the Senate, why put an agenda together until you've got some kind of path for it? How are you supposed to corral that many factions under one house?
Mm-hmm. I think after Craig Blair, the prior president, was defeated in the election 2 years ago, and there was an opening for a new president, there was a feeling that the prior presidents, no offense to them, had been very top-down, sort of hands-on, and there was an appetite clearly for somebody who was less so, more sort of just letting things flow. So I think that's part of President Smith's original appeal. That said, though, I think any leadership position needs to be able to articulate broad goals, sort of themes of what we're going to get accomplished, and probably to cite at least a couple of policies that he would like to be able to see move forward. Things are going to run off the rails. That's just the nature of it. But I think as a leader, as someone who people look to within the caucus and in formats like this, you got to be able to say what you're for.
Very interested to see, and we talked about this week. The House has a very clear agenda. Economic development, Teams West Virginia, about 17 bills, I think, related to economic development that the House Speaker has said he wants to see get through. Does the House end up setting the priorities, and how many of the Senate, and does Governor Morrissey get on board with that? And if you have 2 of the 3 in the trio there pushing that, how much pressure does that put on particularly President Randy Smith and the Senate to get on board with those same priorities?
Mm-hmm. Yesterday at the Issues and Eggs event hosted by retired Talkline host Hoppy Kercheval.
Semi-retired.
Well, he's retired from hosting the show, we think. President Smith agreed that economic development would be one of the Senate's top priorities, too. And there was a question about the balance between social issues and economic issues. And President Smith said that economic issues he thinks are at the forefront this year. The House also could go off the rails with its agenda. So, they're getting a lot of credit for having one, but it's 60 days and they're 100 independent personalities. Things could very well turn out differently. But they flooded the zone with ideas during that press conference a month ago. If some of them get through, then, that's an economic development agenda. The top one, House Bill number 1, is Teams West Virginia.
Yes.
And there's a lot of talk about, well, is the governor really into that? Does he really want it? Because, he's currently able to run his own economic development program the way he and his administration want to. This would, take, I think, some of the autonomy away from the administration. So we'll see how that goes. Gaming it out, there's a point in the session, typically 2/3 in, where each chamber has passed like a bunch of stuff that they want, and then those things don't move in the other chamber, and I'm slow to learn. At that point, I think, what has happened to that bill? And then I realize, the other chamber is holding that for leverage so that they can get their stuff through the opposite end.
Yeah.
Well, if the House is the only one passing stuff that they really want this year, if they're the only ones with priorities, how does that work? Does the Senate just embrace and say, yeah, well that's what we want too?
We'll find out. We're up against the top of the hour here. We've got to take another break. Brad, come back second hour. We'll preview the Governor's State of the State coming up later tonight. We haven't even talked about that yet. We're already through an hour of the show.
We'll preview something.
All right.
Okay.
Brad McElhenney, statewide correspondent, read his work, WVMetroNews.com, presented by AARP. We're back to the AARP broadcast location in a moment.
Since 1926, the West Virginia Hospital Association has been the collective voice of our state's hospitals. With a shared vision of strengthening communities, improving lives, and supporting our state's economic well-being, our member hospitals work every day to provide high-quality, accessible care. This year, we celebrate 100 years of a unified voice and our ongoing commitment to supporting our members in achieving a strong, healthy West Virginia.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at wvha.org.
Located in the heart of West Virginia, Bridgeport is the place to play. Endless indoor and outdoor recreation opportunities, including the Bridgeport Complex, coupled with a dynamic food scene, make Bridgeport the perfect getaway destination for couples and families. Explore unique shopping and pick from a wealth of lodging options to find something perfect for your needs. Explore the heart of West Virginia in Bridgeport. Learn more about all there is to do at greater-bridgeport.com.
Picture a community where every space tells a story. Those are the communities we're designing at ZMM Architects and Engineers. With a blend of creativity and technical expertise, we design spaces that inspire, innovate, and ignite change. From cutting-edge educational facilities to community-centric gathering spaces, we're committed to improving lives through design. Let us help you shape a brighter future for generations to come. Because at ZMM, it's more than architecture. It's about building your legacy.
You're listening to Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Coming to the Beckley Convention Center, Saturday 23rd and 24th. Who are the toughest men and women in the state of West Virginia? Watch Tough Man live on MetroNews Television to find out. Featured fights, top 5 finishes, and event archives. Download MetroNews Television on iPhone, iPad, Android, Roku, LG TV, Apple TV, Fire TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Find out more at wvmetronewstv.com.
Come to Dan Cava GMC this holiday season and find a truck built for every winter moment. From the GMC Canyons that are now up to $2,500 off to the 2,500 GMC Sierras that are now up to $5,000 off, and the Sierra 1500s that are now up to $10,000 off. We've got the winter-ready trucks that your family can count on. Come see us today at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thora.
It's high school basketball season, and MetroNews Television has you covered. Rivalries, buzzer beaters, classic hardwood competition. Watch live and on demand from gyms across the Mountain State. Stream MetroNews Television on your iPhone, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select smart TVs. Or visit MetroNewsTV.com for more information. High school basketball lives here on MetroNews Television.
Back in the Upper Rotunda, the West Virginia State Capitol at the AARP broadcast location. In West Virginia, jackpots are on the rise every week. Powerball hits Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. That's 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Play in-store and online. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. The Powerball jackpot is $156 million. Mega Millions jackpot is $230 million. So go ahead. Play today. House Speaker Roger Hanshaw is going to join us at the top of the hour. We got the Governor's State of the State address coming up tonight. Just a reminder, live coverage across the MetroNews Radio Network and on the MetroNews TV app as the governor will take to the podium in the House of Delegates tonight coming up at 7 o'clock. We haven't even talked about that and what we expect to hear from the governor. We got about 60 seconds. What are you thinking, TJ?
So it all comes down to money, Dave, and how are we going to budget? So tonight I will be watching the governor intently. I will also be watching House Finance Chair Vernon Criss for any kind of body language, along with Jason Barrett, the Senate Finance Chair, because as you well know, priorities are reflective in the budget, and it all comes down to the budget. It has to be balanced. That's what I'm looking for tonight.
All right, coming up second hour of the show, we'll talk more about what we expect to hear from the governor tonight in his State of the State address. Also, House Speaker Roger Hanshaw. Well, he's already here, but we'll talk to him 6 minutes from now. Secretary of State Chris Warren will stop by at 11:33, and more Brad McElhenney, because we all need more Brad McElhenney. It's Metro News Talkline live at the state capitol on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Lost him. And you know what? It was just about to get good, too. It was just getting good. We lost
Should
him.
we take the break and maybe he'll call back? I don't know.
You know what? We can take the break, and we can see if Ethan can reconnect with him, because I want to hear where he goes with that answer. I don't know. CJ, I'm just saying, we just started bringing up some deep stuff, and then it gets cut off. Is the Illuminati listening to the show? Just saying.
Welcome back to the show. 3 minutes away from 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock?
That's it. I'm going home.
Dang, man.
See ya.
I wouldn't even be on the air on any of our stations before 8 o'clock. I don't know where that came from. Reading, it's hard.
Well, I think when you have a... I'll say in all candor, when you're in a foreign country and a monkey in a diaper sitting on your head, you're asking for trouble.
Discussion can end there. That's right. Boom. It's a definitive statement on the issue. Now we move on.
So how many times have you thought about that was a bad idea that I had a monkey on my head since you had the monkey on your head?
Every time I go visit Dr. Pellegrino, my personal doctor. Do you know what it's like to tell your doctor that?
Well, yeah, Doc, I also had a monkey. Excuse me? Had a monkey on my head with a diaper on. I bet you that's the first time Dr. Ron has ever heard that one. He's probably heard a lot of things.
He's heard a lot. Yeah, Dr. Ron has.
He's one of the great West Virginians. He's up there from the Northern Panhandle.
He's awesome.
Tremendous.
Yeah, Dr. Ron. Good dude.
We were talking in my office a little earlier, and a phrase that Ryan used that I was really kind of gobsmacked over. He started a sentence with me. He said, "We were watching football on Thursday."
I know, he did the same thing to me. He did this. Is this like Earth 2?
I said, what?
He came back and started telling me about the Cowboys and the Chiefs game.
I know.
You were watching the Lions game on Thanksgiving Day. Well, what happened? What happened to our little Ryan? Well, when my Uncle Bill and my Uncle Chris asked if I want to watch football with them, I don't say no. Okay.
So,
because I'm not a I'm not a recluse anymore.
So if you have uncles that are big sports fans, do you get some creds? Are you like, hey, I'm actually kind of a sports show? It's syndicated.
Well, I don't.
Statewide.
Well, I don't want this to be a sports show.
Second game this season that Honors had 8 threes. Second time he's had 8 threes, and his coach has pulled him out with over 4 minutes to go.
You're up 40.
Yeah, but coach just does not want to see him get that record.
There may have been a discussion about that on exactly where he was in the number.
Did you let him know this time?
But there was a discussion about where he was with the number. But at the end of the day, Ross decided the juice not worth the squeeze there. With 3.5 minutes left is when he pulled him out after the timeout there. And that's a guy with a lot of minutes on his in his body. You need to rest him. But 2 out of 11, you got to think maybe he's going to approach that again. Here's what's wild. In those 2 games where he's just been one off of Alex Ruoff's record, he's now a combined 16 of 20 from 3 in those 2 games. So he didn't just make 8 threes, guys. He was 8 of 11 last night. He was 8 of 9 when he did it before. 16 of 20 combined in those 2 games.
Across this great state of West Virginia, welcome in high school game nights. I chuckle a little bit, folks, because it said early edition.
As compared to the
Only
rest
edition.
of the edition, yeah.
Yeah. Tonight is going to be interesting, to say the least.
10 seconds remaining.
Going to be a direct snap here.
Snap back. It's Tyler. Tyler fakes the run. He throws. He's got an open man. Pass top 10. 5. End zone. It's a touchdown. Pulled in by Nestor. 3 seconds left.
Are you kidding me with the play call right there by Kevin Whiteman? Again, forget the game-winning field goal. Whiteman says, we're going to try and win this thing right now. The direct snap to Tyler sucked everybody up, and Nestor slips behind. What an unbelievable gutsy play call, and then perfect execution by these Falcons.
You had a moment of clarity about when it all started to make sense for you?
It did, because I didn't want to be a filmmaker growing up. I didn't even know what filmmaking was growing up. I used to watch Oprah and Katie Couric, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be you. And I worked at West Virginia University's radio station. I had a very thick accent. People would call in and make fun of me. And so I asked my roommates, my college roommates who are from Baltimore, to teach me how to talk differently.
Really?
Yeah. And it's a loss, I feel, from that. And it's probably one of the reasons why I love documenting people that are authentic. Like, I don't know if I'm authentic, but I think the people I find are very authentically who they are, and that's what draws me to them.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
We are live at the West Virginia State Capitol. We're in the upper rotunda at the AARP broadcast location. Dave Wilson, TJ Meadows, appreciate you letting us be part of your day. If you're listening in on one of our great radio affiliates across the state of West Virginia, or if you're watching on the MetroNews TV app, Stephanie Pauley is running the video stream here. Jake Link is back in Morgantown. Kyle Wiggs and Sophia Wasik are handling the audio side of things back at MetroNews Control in Morgantown. We will get to the text line at some point this morning, I promise. 304-TALK 304 is the text line, 304-TALK 304. Secretary of State Chris Warner will stop by bottom of the hour, and Brad McElhenney will join us as well as the legislative session officially gets underway at noon today. Governor Morrissey will deliver the State of the State address tonight. That begins at 7 o'clock, and we'll have it for you on the MetroNews Radio Network and the MetroNews TV app. Joining us here at the AARP broadcast location, the Speaker of the House of Delegates, Roger Hanshaw from Clay County. Roger, good to see you again.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Are you ready? Are you excited for another legislative session?
We are. We're ready to. We'll introduce a couple hundred bills here in about an hour. We'll get started with committee meetings tomorrow morning. We're looking forward to it.
We were talking with Senate President Randy Smith about the perceived lack of an agenda on the Senate side. On the House side, you guys came out last month. You laid out a plan, and you want to focus on jobs and economic development. How do you do that?
We do, Dave. That's what we're calling our Jobs First, Opportunity Everywhere agenda. The fundamental foundation of that is that you can make progress, and we will make progress on every other conservative agenda item by putting West Virginians into the best paying jobs possible. We rolled out a list of 17 things a couple weeks ago as we headed into the holidays that represent the work of our interim committee, so most of those things shouldn't have come as a surprise to anyone who follows our interim process. We want to do things like work on the housing inventory. We know that in most of West Virginia there's actually a dearth of housing opportunities. We want to make it easier and cheaper for people to build housing supply. That means things like taking off the sales tax on construction building materials. So that's one of the pieces of legislation that we'll have introduced and begin consideration of this week. We want to try and lower the overall cost to a homeowner and to a developer to put West Virginians in homes. So people who are coming here to work, we want them to be able to have a place to live. We want to make it as cheap as possible to build roads, to put in infrastructure, to get sites ready to build on. So one of the very first bills that our Committee on Finance will take up this week is our Industrial Access Road Update Bill. Again, not one that jumps out and grabs a lot of headlines, but it's super important if you're in the process and if you're in the business of siting a major facility in a community. It might take a couple $1 million to build just that road to get into a site. We want to make that as cheap as possible. A number of other things, all based around just putting West Virginians to work.
Talk to me about Team West Virginia, modeled after Jobs Ohio. I want to understand, and I don't know that listeners fully appreciate this yet. We're all learning. Give us the 50,000-foot level and what that is, how it would work, and what you want to do.
Yeah, Team West Virginia, technology, energy, aviation, and manufacturing. Team West Virginia is a concept that we've modeled on successful programs elsewhere. We've learned from programs elsewhere, and now we're ready to roll out that program here. TJ, it's as you said, at the 50,000-foot level, it takes all of the marketing, the recruitment, the development of employment projects in the state of West Virginia and puts them into the hands of a private nonprofit organization free from some of the parameters and the hurdles that exist within state government. It professionalizes the economic development and recruitment operation into a group of people who don't have the constraints that come with being state government employees, and lets them leverage all the things that our Department of Economic Development, our Department of Tourism, our Department of Commerce do. Put the capital stack together for those projects that need resources from the private sector, that need lenders, that need equity investors, and puts all that together into a package that speeds up and brings to conclusion and successful implementation a major economic development project.
So I'm sure you've studied how this has worked in Ohio. Can you give us an example how in Ohio they brought in everything you just talked about and saw that to fruition?
Well, the very biggest example that our region's seen in the lifetime of most listeners here, Intel. Intel just announced as I recall, a $20 billion chip manufacturing facility just outside of Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
I reserve the right to be wrong about the number.
No, you're in the ballpark.
I think that's right. That was a success of that program, Dave. It's one, and if you ask them, they will tell you it was a success of that program, bringing together the infrastructure development, the capital requirements, the lenders, the permitting, all of the factors that go into a project of that magnitude. There's one place to do it, and they did it free from the constraints that otherwise exist within state government. What I don't want to do here is make it sound like our existing Department of Economic Development and our EDA are not doing their jobs. They are, and they'll continue to exist and do what they do. But there are things they can't do, and we want to make sure that we're putting all the cards on the table to grow this economy.
Well, to your point, I mean, you look at 270, the Outer Belt in Columbus. Columbus is now larger than Cleveland.
Of course it is.
Larger than Cincinnati. It's there, and a lot of that is Jobs Ohio, so it works. But Ohio has a funding stream. I think it's $25 million a year from liquor, maybe more.
It is. No, that's how they fund it.
How are we going to fund it?
We've explored doing exactly the same thing. Proportionally, our volume actually exceeds Ohio if you take it on a population basis. We think that will work here as well when we get into consideration of the bill. Hopefully, as early as later this week, we'll start to explore that. But we think the same model works here.
Talking to Roger Hanshaw. He is the Speaker and the House Delegates here. First day of the legislature at the AARP broadcast location in the Upper Rotunda. Let's talk planes.
Yeah, let's talk planes.
Airplanes and airports. How does growth of the aviation industry, how can that be part of this overall economic development plan that we're talking about?
Well, we love talking about that. In fact, we love talking about it so much that it's the A in Team West Virginia, aviation. It's one of the fastest growing sectors of the state's economy, and most West Virginians, unless you live near one of the airports, probably don't even realize the impact that industry alone already has on our state's economy. Among the largest maintenance, repair, and overhaul organizations in the world for jet engines is located in Bridgeport. But if you look at the Bridgeport Airport, we've got a number of other airports just like that. The Tri-State Airport in Huntington, the Parkersburg Airport, the Beckley Airport, the Martinsburg Airport, all have well-suited real estate around those airports that we can use to develop hangars, that we can use to site the MRO organizations that tell us at every trade show we attend, we'll lease that space before we've even finished building it. So we know that it's been extraordinarily successful in Bridgeport. It's transformed the economy of that region. We have that same asset in Parkersburg. We have it in Huntington. We have it in Martinsburg. We have it in Beckley. Everywhere we have a small airport, that industry represents an opportunity to transform that economy of the local region. And it simultaneously has a chance to secure the long-term viability of the airports. So we know that, I shouldn't say we know, but it is a fact that almost all of those small airports in West Virginia depend upon a federal subsidy to continue to exist. They depend upon a low-service region subsidy that Congress has to appropriate whenever Congress can appropriate anything. But in this environment, those airports, I would not want to bet on that long term. This is a way to make sure that continues to exist.
So help me understand why, though. Is it because the commercial airports in larger cities are so crowded, so you can bring the jets here and work on them, and we have available space?
It's exactly that.
Is that what's going on?
It's exactly that. You have to compete with passenger traffic and cargo traffic at JFK, at Heathrow, at Dublin. And believe it or not, those are airports that we're competing against. When we send delegations of House members and senators abroad to talk to the aviation industry abroad, there's a great push to move that jet engine repair, maintenance, overhaul, painting, yes, out of Europe into smaller markets elsewhere.
You could fly them across the pond
100%.
And be more economic than you could to keep them in Europe.
Bring them to Bridgeport.
Bring them to Bridgeport. Bring them to Parkersburg. Put them in Huntington. That's what we're about.
And not only are we talking about building hangars and Bombardier, I know, is in Bridgeport, but Fairmont State's got an aviation program.
That's right.
Marshall has an aviation program. So as far as training and getting people ready to work these jobs, that infrastructure is already in place.
It is, and it's extraordinarily successful, Dave, and we really want to build on that. For those who haven't followed the trajectory, no pun intended, of the Marshall Aviation Program, it's really it has exploded. They're no longer just training pilots there now, although they do that extraordinarily well. They're training the mechanics that work on jet engines. They're training. They either are or soon will be training air traffic controllers. They're a full service organization now for the aviation industry. We want to support that by putting as many facilities as we can across the state.
But I have to ask you, I asked Randy Smith the same question. We have a lot of people here who work hard, want to work. We have a lot of people that don't.
We do.
How do we fix that?
Well, I will always believe that you fix that by giving people the best job you can, TJ. And when you can't fix it, the data says that people follow jobs. So we do have a population problem in West Virginia. We know that. We're losing population. We're one of the handful of states that are. But one of the reasons we're losing population is we're losing jobs. So I believe this is a virtuous cycle, not a vicious cycle. When you put the job opportunities in a community, the people follow them to come there. We're quite happy to welcome expats who've left West Virginia to find employment elsewhere back home to work on airplanes.
This leads me into something we haven't talked. We didn't bring it up in the first hour either. But also, when it comes to what people wanting to go to work, there are a lot of people who will tell you, I can't go because I got 3 kids at home.
Yep.
I can't afford it. It's cheaper to not work than send them to child care.
We do hear that.
A couple of years ago, that was a big. We're going to dive into this. Nothing really happened. Is the legislature going to address child care in some shape, form, or fashion?
Well, so something important did happen, Dave, and it is worth talking about, and that is for the past year we've been piloting a program in, I believe it's 8 counties, that has represented what we call a tri-share model, where it's brought together the parent who has a kid that needs to go to daycare, the employer who needs to get a worker, and some third-party component. In this case, it was grant funding that created the three-legged, I hate that analogy, but that three-legged stool of an environment that made it possible for that employee to go back to the workplace sponsored by that major employer. That's been wildly successful in the 8 counties where it's been piloted. We have a team that's been exploring what it would take to expand that statewide.
Let's talk finance a little bit. Governor wants 5 to 10%. I assume that's personal income tax. We'll find out tonight.
We'll find out tonight. Yep.
That's circling around. Same time, you've got federal funding. And a lot of people worried we're not going to get the same kind of federal funding that we used to. And you have to balance a budget. How concerned are you with those variables?
Well, so all that's true. You're right about every bit of all that. We are always concerned about balancing the budget, TJ. It's the one constitutional responsibility we have here, right? If we do nothing else but pass a balanced budget and go home in 60 days. We've met our constitutional mandate here as the legislature. So it's perhaps the most important thing we do here. So we're open to the governor's proposal. We're anxious to hear it tonight. We're doing well. We're continuing to exceed revenue projections. So despite a cut in personal income tax, we're still tracking right on where we thought we'd be and even exceeding revenue projections. So I'm happy about that. We're always making sure that we don't end up as Kansas, right? We don't want, and for listeners who perhaps don't follow this as closely as others, Kansas overshot their projections a few years ago, cut too much too fast, and had to eventually come back to a place where they had to raise taxes to cover a deficit. We don't ever want to be in that situation. We want to continue to march toward being the lowest tax jurisdiction we can, but we still have obligations to meet. We still have roads to pave and schools to run and state workers to pay, and those individuals deserve a little pay raise, more than a little in most cases, and we're also interested in that. So there are competing priorities, and our members are just getting started on answering the question which of those priorities we want to work on this year.
House Speaker Roger Hanshaw joining us. You got 100 members in the House.
We do.
That's a lot of individual. That's in different districts, different needs in those districts, different personalities. Everybody generally on the same page, at least in the Republican caucus, generally in the same page, pushing in the same direction this year?
We are this year, Dave. We're really happy with where we are. We spent a lot of time over the 10 months that have intervened since we've been here together as a body, just making sure that we're working on the things that are important to the local districts. You know, we'll introduce around 3,000 pieces. If this year's like every other year, and I have no reason to believe it won't be, we'll introduce around 3,000 pieces of legislation in the House this year. We normally take up and consider around 300 of those. But recognize that every one of those bills that got introduced was introduced for a reason that was important to somebody. Maybe it's only important to one or two people in one community somewhere, but it was important enough for a member elected to this body to feel that she or he had to write a bill to address it. And we try never to dismiss those ideas, but we also have to prioritize the time that we have here and do the things that impact the most West Virginians in the most positive way.
Can we deal with foster care, child care, or is that a special session?
Oh, I hope we can. I hope we can, TJ. There's a group of members that meet regularly to talk about this. That of the 11 sessions that I have spent here as a member of this body, I struggle to identify an issue that we have spent more time on than that. But for me, that's yet another example of a problem that you solve by putting more people in good employment situations. You know, the data is remarkably clear, and I've said it in other forums before, but it bears repeating now. The data is remarkably clear. If you want to make progress on so many priorities that are important to at least us as a conservative governing majority, and that includes things like decreasing substance abuse, decreasing rates of child abuse, decreasing rates of domestic violence, decreasing every negative metric almost that we cite here in West Virginia and nationally. If you want to decrease all those things, give people an economic opportunity to make good decisions for themselves. So many of those negative things that give rise to kids being in foster care and in abuse situations stem from the hopelessness and depression and despair that unfortunately befalls so many people when they're out of work, when they're laid off, when they've lost a job, when the fabric of their community has eroded because a major employer leaves. That's why I talk about the economy so much. I live in a community that lost a major employer. I saw firsthand the impact of the loss of that one major employer in Clay County, West Virginia, where I still live today. It was devastating to us. We're still reeling from the effects of it 20 years later, over 20 years now, but it fundamentally eroded the fabric of our community. It's why I work on and talk about the economy so much.
He's House Speaker Roger Hanshaw. State of the State address coming up tonight, and the legislature will be getting to work in, about 45 minutes
That's right.
from now or so. Roger, appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks,
Best
guys.
of luck. House Speaker Roger Hanshaw. We'll continue from the Upper Rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol in a moment. This is Talkline live from the Capitol.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan.
The health plan is still growing, giving you a large network of doctors, friendly and helpful customer service representatives, and competitive, flexible pricing plans that meet your needs. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you
Principal Greg Dosh of MTech.
Thanks to funding in part from West Virginia Lottery proceeds, we're expanding MTech with a new STEM edition.
Across West Virginia, opportunities like these are made possible when you play, helping to ensure more students can discover their future right here at home. For 40 years, proceeds from the West Virginia Lottery for education have totaled $4.1 billion. West Virginia Lottery, 18 plus to play responsibly.
Hospitals drive West Virginia's economy. They produce jobs and create opportunities while keeping our communities healthy. Employing nearly 54,000 people, West Virginia hospitals rank among our state's largest and most dependable employers. They provide more than $1 billion in community benefits and generate nearly $17 billion in total economic impact each year. Hospitals are investing where it counts, advancing health, ensuring access to care, and powering West Virginia's economic future.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at wvha.org.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
You're listening to Talkline on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Poca Valley has proudly served the citizens of Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties for over a century. As your trusted community bank, we're committed to building relationships and meeting your financial needs. And with the Poca Valley Visa card, you can enjoy competitive interest rates, no annual fees, and a rewarding points program, all from a bank you know and trust. Visit your local Poca Valley office to apply or call us. Poca Valley, where relationships matter. Member FDIC.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
I've had a complicated relationship with food. My job was to talk to heart failure patients about diet and exercise. I felt like, why would you listen to me? Because I was not following a diet that was healthy for me. I needed help. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 175 pounds. I feel like I'm free. They hold the skill, they hold the tools, and they're waiting for you to come say that you need the help.
Steich Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement. We believe retirement starts with a plan. Saving for college starts with a plan. Your legacy starts with a plan. Do you have the right plan? Call our team at 304-443-4240 or email steich-info@wealthenhancement.com.
CityNet is bringing ultra-fast fiber internet to more West Virginia homes every day. Right now, get 50% off any plan for your first year. Check availability and join the fiber revolution at citynet.net. CityNet connects, protects, and perfects. Secretary of State Chris Warner is going to join us a couple of minutes from now. Would you say the House is focused on economic development? At least the Speaker is.
I would say so, and I think that's a good place to be because he is not wrong when he says a job fixes a lot of things. That's accurate. And so focus on the jobs.
I will be curious. My curiosities are who's on the same page. 100 people, that's a lot to manage. You have, what, out of that 91 Republicans, right? 9 Democrats in the House?
Yep.
He says they're, generally speaking, all on the same page. So do we see these things work their way through? Is there some what gets the House off the rails this session? I guess I'm curious to find out, if anything. Maybe there is nothing this year.
Well, there's always hanging out there. I don't really want to talk about it. You know what I'm going to say. Vaccines.
Yeah, you use the V word.
It's hanging out there. Do we try to fix something before the court has its go at it, or do we give the court a go? I don't know. But I don't think by and large many are willing to really – there's not an appetite the way there was last year. Put it that way.
I think two things are at play when it comes to what the priorities are this year. I think a lot of delegates went home and heard from their constituents, hey, guys, girls, jobs, jobs, economy, jobs, economy, jobs, economy. So I think that, number one, and it is an election year.
Yes.
It is an election year.
Yes.
And that's why we're going to talk to the Secretary of State, Chris Warner. He's going to stop by in just a moment. We'll talk about the filing period. It's open. I haven't checked I'm a nerd, but I got busy today. I did not check the filing website today to see
Neither did
who's
I.
filed. But that's a little daily exercise during election season.
If it's kind of me and if it's iffy on whether I'm going to or not, I wait until the last minute. I don't want to give people a heads up. I wait until the last minute.
We'll talk to the Secretary of State, Chris Warner. This is Talkline live from the state capitol in the Upper Rotunda. We'll be here tomorrow as well. Governor Morrissey is scheduled to join us on tomorrow's program. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. It is 11:30. Let's get a news update and check in with the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News. I'm Chris Lawrence. The West Virginia legislature gavels to order next hour at the Capitol for the 60-day regular session. And ahead of that, the buzz at the Capitol has been about tax cuts. Well, speaking Tuesday, Senate President Randy Smith said he'd be for them so long as they're responsible.
The House and the Senate, sometimes we have to be the adults in the room because we have to pay the bills. We have to make sure that, that we're not going to bankrupt the state or, we're not going to have to destroy programs.
We'll find out what kind of tax cuts the governor has in mind when he delivers his State of the State address to a joint session of the House and Senate tonight in the House chamber. Hear that address on Metro News Radio or see it on the Metro News TV app. December revenue figures about $3.3 million below estimate for the month of December. Deputy Revenue Secretary Mark Mucco updated lawmakers during a meeting of the Joint Committee on Government and Finance Tuesday during interims and told lawmakers the biggest difference, personal income tax for the month.
That was about $3.3 million below estimate, with the personal income tax being the biggest difference there. The collections on personal income tax were $192.4 million. The estimate was $209.6 million.
Mucco said that could be made up in January. It's been 3 years since lawmakers approved the Third Grade Success Act that was concentrating efforts to put more teaching assistants in school to help improve reading and basic math proficiency by the end of third grade. Officials at the Department of Education say it's working. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Who are the toughest men and women in the area? RDR Utility Services, Bad Lizard Granite and Quartz, Romager Dental, Revitalize Health and Med Spa, Paramount Energy Services, present the 47th Annual Budweiser Tough Man Contest. Welcome by 5 News WDTV and 97.9 WKKW. Coming to the Clarksburg Armory Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Buy tickets or the pay-per-view at WVToughman.com. That's WVToughman.com. Featured Pro Bout, Trey Stout Friday night, and Zach Randolph versus Keith Barr on Saturday night. After party at Brickside Bar and Grill. The State Ethics Commission has reached an agreement with former Nicholas County Superintendent of Schools Terrence Beam. Under the agreement, Beam agrees he violated the State Ethics Act by hiring his step-grandson for a custodian's job. Turns out that grandson had been convicted of a crime against children. Now, Beam in the agreement asserts he did not fully know that, but should have. He was fined $1,500 and publicly reprimanded. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
Metro News Talkline live at the West Virginia State Capitol for the start of the 60-day legislative session. We'll be here most days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday through the legislative session. We'll be back here tomorrow. Governor Morrissey scheduled to join us at 10:06. The session officially begins at noon when the Senate and House will gavel in. David TJ joined now by West Virginia Secretary of State Chris Warner. Chris, good to see you, man.
Hey, it's great to be here and get out of the office for just a couple of minutes.
It is an election season. It's election year 2026. The filing period opened on Monday. How's everything so far?
We've had almost 500 candidates file for office, not only through the Secretary of State's office, but through the county clerks. And you can go to govotewv.com and see exactly who's already filed their certificate of candidacy.
How many do you expect to file?
I won't make an estimate, but I will tell you in 2022 we had 2,600 plus file for office. So you have all your executive committees and 117 seats in the legislature. But that's, you would have to look at that and say, we're on par, by the way, for the first 3 days of 2022 on how many had filed, about 500. So we can expect that many.
When does the work begin to prepare for an election?
Oh, we've been working on this for months. It literally started the first month that I was in office. We started planning conferences for all 55 county clerks, because that's where the real work is done, is in our 55 county clerks. They keep the voter rolls clean. We provide the tools that help them, the change of addresses through the U.S. Postal Service, for example. But the real work is done with the county clerks working in concert with 6 employees. We have the smallest office of all the constitutional officers, and we have 6 dedicated to elections, 24/7.
Feels like we've talked this to death, but Republicans have decided and affirmed to close their primary. That's their choice. It's their primary. How concerned are you that independents are going to show up on primary day thinking they can get that ballots, and what is your office doing to get the word out that that can't happen this go around?
We will have signage on the table that the poll workers can point to, but that's one of the things we took up in the last conference that we had. We had 53 county clerks and staff from all 55 counties. We're doing everything we can and taking the opportunity that you're giving us here today to remind unaffiliated voters they will not be able to pull a Republican ballot in the primary. They can still pull a Democrat ballot, you just won't be able to pull a Republican ballot.
Secretary of State Chris Warner is joining us. I remember being a young lad in school, and then Secretary of State Joe Manchin comes to school, talks about the importance of voting. I think we even registered to vote that day, if I remember correctly. Still getting into the schools, still talking to the young people?
I've been in 34 high schools in the last 3 months. The office has been in a total of 54 high schools, and we've registered just over 16,000 17, 18, and 19-year-olds, mainly through our Jennings-Randolph program, where we encourage high school students to register to vote.
Never too early to start asking for poll workers. Make your pitch.
We give every one of those students and anyone else that registers to vote, all they have to do is check a box, and they have the opportunity to be a poll worker, anywhere from roughly $200 to $300 for a full day's work. It's a long day's work. We also are looking at legislation that we would like to have proposed this year for a trainee program that would allow 15 and 16-year-olds to go through a training program. They would have to pick a political party, even though they're not registered to vote. But after they go through the training, it would allow them to be a poll worker. And we're supporting that legislation because we interviewed all 55 county clerks. 52 of the county clerks said they would have a rough time finding poll workers for the next election.
Get them interested. Why not?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I like that idea of getting young kids, we call them kids, they're kids to us, right? But young people interested and getting them involved at 15, 16, 17 years old. I like that idea.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going a step further. The first ever I Voted sticker contest. So we all know what the I Voted sticker is. After you voted, we're getting 8th graders this year the opportunity to design the I Voted sticker. And it's a contest that they turn in through their history teacher, through their arts teacher at school, and then they turn that into the county clerk. There will be one winner chosen out of the 8th grade in every county, and then we've got a panel of judges that will decide the statewide winner. But you wouldn't believe the amount of attention that it's getting. I had a grandparent yesterday in Raleigh County come up to me and said, "Tell me more about this sticker contest. I have an 8th grade grandchild that wants to participate." And so you can do that by going to govotewv.com and click on the I Voted sticker contest to see the rules and get the application.
I think that's outstanding. Whatever we can do to get folks involved in the process, our young folks, I think is outstanding. You, of course, are Secretary of State, but you're also a member of the Board of Public Works.
That's right.
Any legislative agendas, any pieces of legislation that you would like to see to benefit the state outside your office? Because, look, I think every member of the Board of Public Works has a stake in that.
Oh, well, I mean, we definitely have an interest. The governor chairs the Board of Public Works, so as the Board of Public Works, I'll leave that up to the chairman of the board. One of the bills that we're very interested in is an Office of Entrepreneurship. Much of what our West Virginia One-Stop Business Center does now, but we want to codify that, make sure that it's there after I'm gone and after the employees that are there retire from the office. But it's a matter of helping those newly registered voters, or not newly registered voters, but newly registered businesses that are coming and starting their business, make sure that they know where to go to get financing, where to go to get help. If we can't take care of it, we have the sources. We've been training them every Friday afternoon at 4:30, bringing people in so they can say, hey, here's what USDA Rural Development does. Here's what the West Virginia Economic Development Authority does. And here's what we can do to help out.
We were talking with Roger Hanshaw and Senate President Randy Smith about businesses, entrepreneurship, small businesses. What more can we do to make it easier or less hard, if you want to put it that way, for small business owners to actually start a business, get up and running so they can open up a shop in some of these rural areas where the big companies just aren't going to go?
That's what we do with our West Virginia One-Stop Business Center in concert with the West Virginia Legislature. It's been very productive. To make it easy, you can now register a business online, or you can stop into one of the 3 West Virginia One-Stop Business Centers, downtown Clarksburg, downtown Martinsburg, and here in Charleston. So you're about a 2-hour drive from anywhere in the state. Those are strategically located. But the other thing that we're doing is you can go onto our website and schedule an appointment with one of our business specialists. Our business specialists will call you back. If it's your lunch hour, they'll call you at 12 o'clock, and you've got them for a half an hour. And so this is the way business operates, but we're doing it out of state government. And they sit there and they help them on everything they need to get their business registered or point them in the right direction if they're having a problem, at any point, whether it's newly registered business or not.
Chris, it's something like, depending on which study you look at, 80, 90, even the higher percent of businesses fail. Mm-hmm. I feel like we have forgotten, and people are scared by that failure. Look, failure is something to learn from. So when you talk to entrepreneurs, when your office talks to entrepreneurs, how do you solidify that message with people? Look, it may not hit the first time. It may not even hit the second. It may be the third or the fourth. That's okay.
From the entrepreneurial side, I was in business and probably started 15 businesses over the last 30 years, mainly up in the Morgantown area. But I'm bringing that experience, my experience from USDA Rural Development and the West Virginia Economic Development Authority, and realize that there is a gap of small business owners that need help past just filing your initial registration. And, how do you handle an annual report if you've never done that before? And that's really where I think this Office of Entrepreneurship will be able to help out, again, helping with financing, where you can get business coaching through the SBA, any type of help that they may need. Our people are now trained and ready to go to help out.
West Virginia Secretary of State Chris Swarner, hey, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Come by anytime.
Thank you, guys.
Coming up, Brad McElhenney will rejoin us. This is Talkline live from the West Virginia State Capitol.
America's met coal producers, giving members a powerful voice in policy, partnership, and progress. Producers, suppliers, and innovators come together here to build relationships, drive growth, and strengthen our industry. Join today. Visit metcoal.com. Metcoal makes it possible. MCPA makes it personal.
Days, evenings, weekends, and holidays. You can't predict when you'll get sick or hurt. But WVU Medicine Urgent Care is prepared to help when you do. Our team treats minor illnesses and injuries and performs services like on-site lab and imaging, vaccinations, and sports physicals. WVU Medicine is ready to assist you and your family when life happens. To find the closest location near you, visit wvumedicine.org/urgent care.
We're expanding our ultra-fast fiber network across West Virginia, bringing reliable, lightning-fast internet to more homes every day. With plans up to 10 gig, you'll enjoy unbeatable speed for streaming, gaming, and working from home. And right now, new customers get 50% off any plan for their first year, now as low as $25 a month. No contracts, free installation, local support you can count on. Check availability today at citynet.net. CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Across West Virginia, hospitals are always here, healing, helping, and standing strong for our communities. Hospitals save lives and build livelihoods. They're among our largest employers, with a passionate workforce of 54,000 West Virginians. Hospitals are economic drivers, contributing close to $17 billion to our state's economy and working to ensure access to care for all. From life-saving moments to wellness support, West Virginia hospitals keep our state healthy, our families strong, and our future bright.
On the next State of Minds.
People appreciate cool tattoos and they appreciate good tattoos. It's a way to make yourself different.
What do you think would fit me?
I think a ninja. A ninja with two swords.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Trojan Landing Marine is now Charleston's newest power sports dealership.
We now feature a full line of sleek Suzuki street bikes and four-wheelers. We're now offering the innovative riding experience of Benda motorcycles. The next step in motorcycle evolution with all-electric Zero high-performance bikes. We've now got Segway vehicles starting as low as $10,000. Come in and check out our great selection of high-quality Benelli and Royal Enfield bikes. Visit Trojan Landing in Charleston, now your water, road, and dirt dealership.
Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
We are live at the West Virginia State Capitol in the Upper Rotunda, also known as the Belly of the Beast. Brad McElhenney rejoins us. Capitol Report brought to you by AARP, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Connect on social media at AARP West Virginia and learn more at aarp.org/WV. Let's talk about the Governor's State of the State address that comes up tonight, 7 o'clock, by the way. You can hear it across the Metro News Radio Network, and we will have live coverage on the Metro News TV app as well. Brad, what are you hearing that we might be hearing tonight from the governor?
You know, I mean, he's done a fairly unusual thing of telegraphing already some of his priorities, and those include some sort of tax cut proposal, 5 to 10% ballpark. Don't really know the details of that structure. And, you know, you've already heard members of the House and Senate, including leaders, say, well, we need to take a look at that because we've got this trigger system already working and we are not in line to hit the trigger.
But do you think we'll see that? Do you think he'll have a roadmap in the budget of where to cut back, where he's recommending that they cut back so that that balances out and we can get 5 to 10%? Or is that a softer, this is what I want, you guys figure it out?
Both. So, I mean, starting tomorrow, we're going to get the nuts and bolts of the governor's revenue and budget staff presenting their outline to the Senate and House Finance Committees. And I think it's going to go into that level of detail. But, you know, if the governor is smart, he understands the legislative process and should be flexible and willing to deviate from that if he can get something.
I am interested, and this may not necessarily come up in the State of the State, maybe more broadly this year, guys. How does the governor change from last year? His style of working with the legislature, his style of trying to get his agenda through. Didn't really work last year. Created a lot of friction. I think we all saw that. Does that change? Did he learn from last year? Go, okay, do I change a little bit to try to get my goals accomplished? I know we're not going to get that tonight, but broadly over the next 60 days, one of those things I'm curious to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, to my eye, he has spent much of the off season, the past year or so, out around the state, inviting legislators to appear with him at events, giving them opportunities to speak. To me, that's part of that relationship building. Now, having said that, to read the room this morning, the big room that we are in, I wonder if maybe he's taken some steps backwards in his relationships. Those relationships are going to count, obviously, if you want your agenda to pass, but it was rough with the House of Delegates last year. Now I think it might be rough with the state Senate, too.
Yielding power is always tough. But if you want to throw a bone and you want to repair the relationship, why not throw a big one? If you're the governor tonight, why not come out and wrap your arms around Team West Virginia and Jobs Ohio? You saw how excited Hanshaw is about it. Other people are talking about it. Why not jump on that train early? Or if you don't, do you not like it? I mean, it's worked incredibly well for Governor DeWine, a Republican.
Or, the middle ground, to embrace it and then sort of try to tweak it to something that you can deal with.
I mean, to me, that'd be a big bone, Brad. That'd be a big win for legislators. They get that warm fuzzy.
Well, and, especially if the speaker and his caucus are that excited about their economic development agenda, and if it's not clear what the Senate wants to do, that could be the thing that's, what I'll embrace in the end.
What are you hearing, if anything? We've kind of touched on some of the foster care issues that are still looming out there, child care issues we have talked about. Have you heard any scuttlebutt yet about what direction those may go this year?
Well, one of the things that the governor previewed is a longer-term plan. There are these sad cases of kids who are in foster care and their situations are so difficult that they wind up being sent out of state because West Virginia doesn't have the in-state expertise and infrastructure to give them what they need. People want to bring those kids back, and so the governor has laid out a proposal through a few years to try to make progress on that. So I think there's going to be some of that. Some members of the House, some members of the Senate have also generated their own ideas, and I think the Human Services Secretary for the state contends that West Virginia is making progress already.
These things are always pep rallies, and that's fine. Everybody needs a pep rally. Are we going to hear the governor talk about yesterday's Supreme Court case with State of West Virginia versus BPJ? He had a role in that, right, previous on, and has championed that. Are we going to hear him maybe talk about the vaccine issue as, hey, I put it up there, it's in the courts, we'll see what happens? I'm wondering to what extent he brags and talks about those things tonight, if at all.
Last year's speech, his State of the State and his inaugural address were just full of social issues. And in the last few weeks, I feel like I've heard him talk less about the kind of social issues you've described. He's had two different press conferences trying to begin to lay out an economic agenda. I don't think that that's not part of his brand of politics anymore, but it just seems like it's been downplayed in the last few weeks, and I wonder if it will continue to be tonight.
Did they listen? Did they go home after last year's session, they being senators, delegates, even the governor, and hear from people who said, where are you helping in the economy? Where are the jobs issues? Did they go home and hear that, Brad, do you think? I guess I'm asking you to speculate a little bit here, or is it the result of its election season? You guys got to get reelected this year. Why the change in tone?
I would think that what you're saying may be true, but as I run it through my brain simulator, I am wondering if, there are citizens out there who are deeply motivated by some of these social issues, and I think you could just as well, get an earful from those folks. So it's really hard to judge.
It's also an election year, and honeymoon's over for the governor. It's been rumored that he wants to play some level of role in the midterm contests, especially, in the House and others. He has to have some political capital built up, which means he needs some wins, I think, in this session to be able to do that, Brad, right or wrong?
It feels like there is a low-level version of the 2028 primary already occurring.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's as far as I'm going to go on that one. But it feels like there is some positioning already here in early 2026 aimed at 2028. And, Governor Morrissey is someone who, as Attorney General, was elected to that office, 3 times? He's no stranger to elections.
Yeah.
He knows what it takes to be elected repeatedly. And so if he wants a second term, it is time to begin,
Listen, I'll say
laying the groundwork.
I'll say what I think Brad's thinking. 2028, Jim Justice's term's up in the U.S. Senate, right? The governor's term is up. He would be up for re-election. You've got other terms in the Board of Public Works that are going to be up. So there will be people positioning themselves, as you said, Brad, for some high-profile jobs in 2028.
Potentially competitive.
Brad McElhenney, he's got a high-profile job. He's the MetroNews statewide correspondent. He's got to get over to the Senate because they're getting ready to go into session here at – I assume you're going to the Senate, Brad.
There might or might not be drama.
By the way, it's not official unless you say it on the show. Love the jacket.
Oh, thank you. I
Looks
appreciate
good.
it.
Great.
Thank you.
MetroNews statewide correspondent and fashion editor.
I'm available as a paid influencer.
Brad McElhenney. Talk to you tomorrow, Brad. We'll be back in a moment to wrap things up. This is Talkline from the Capitol.
Principal Greg Dosh of MTech.
Thanks to funding in part from West Virginia lottery proceeds, we're expanding MTech with a new STEM edition.
Across West Virginia, opportunities like these are made possible when you play, helping to ensure more students can discover their future right here at home. For 40 years, proceeds from the West Virginia Lottery for education have totaled $4.1 billion. West Virginia Lottery, 18 plus to play responsibly.
Since 1926, the West Virginia Hospital Association has been the collective voice of our state's hospitals. With a shared vision of strengthening communities, improving lives, and supporting our state's economic well-being, our member hospitals work every day to provide high-quality, accessible care. This year, we celebrate 100 years of a unified voice and our ongoing commitment to supporting our members in achieving a strong, healthy West Virginia.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at wvha.org.
Coal-based generation remains the backbone of West Virginia's energy portfolio, ensuring reliability, security, and affordable electricity throughout the region. Our coal plants are engineered for performance, designed to run most efficiently at or near a 70% capacity factor. This level of operation is not arbitrary. It's based on sound engineering principles, scientific analysis, and has been formally adopted by the West Virginia Legislature as a reasonable target for optimal performance. When our coal fleet operates near that benchmark, it provides stable power to the grid, maintains cost efficiency, and supports thousands of good-paying jobs across our state. Coal generation also drives local tax revenue that sustains schools, infrastructure, and community services. Working in partnership with state leaders and the Trump administration, we're ensuring that our coal fleet remains modern, efficient, and ready to power West Virginia and beyond for decades to come. This message brought to you by the West Virginia Coal Association and Friends of Coal.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Come to Dan Cava GMC this holiday season and find a truck built for every winter moment. From the GMC Canyons that are now up to $2,500 off to the 2,500 GMC Sierras that are now up to $5,000 off, and the Sierra 1500s that are now up to $10,000 off. We've got the winter-ready trucks that your family can count on. Come see us today at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thora.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown! We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
It's high school basketball season, and Metro News Television has you covered. Rivalries, buzzer beaters, classic hardwood competition. Watch live and on demand from gyms across the Mountain State. Stream Metro News Television on your iPhone, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select smart TVs. Or visit MetroNewsTV.com for more information. High school basketball lives here on Metro News Television.
We win it
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Boy, we pushed Brad late. Brad barely makes it over to the Senate in time. They're gaveling in here at noon.
Feels like we just got started.
We did. It's only day one of the 60-day legislative session. We will be here throughout the session from the belly of the beast. Quick reminder, jackpots are always growing in West Virginia. Powerball hits Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Powerball jackpots $156 million. Mega Millions $230 million. We'll see you tomorrow. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.